Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at a scenario where all first world countries went to war with all second and third world countries. So first things first here, by strength, honestly, I'm going to have to go with third world. By economy, I'm going to have to go with first world. Of course, this is also second world. And I'm just searching up these maps, putting them into paint.net. Also, some of these surprised me, like Montenegro. Better than... Actually, no, that one doesn't surprise me so much. 0 African countries, though. Almost no Asian countries except for a few in the Middle East and a bit of East Asia. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. Let's go ahead and begin with wars, which is just the USA completely taking over the Caribbean. I also didn't include Puerto Rico as a part of the USA. I probably should have, but kind of forgot they existed for a second there. Didn't forget about Hawaii though, so that's always good. We also see the US begin an invasion of Mexico. And in the US versus the Americas video, I had the US win, not by a lot, but technically they did win. And that was with Canada, Argentina, and Chile against them. So this time it's going to go even better. And it's going to be even easier. See, American troops are beginning to seep down to Mexico and the Caribbean. Meanwhile, Europe's main goal here is to capitulate the Balkans, which is going very well as Turkey is holding a front. But besides that, Bulgaria, Serbia have fallen. Romania is also holding a front, as is Ukraine. But Belarus, the interior is falling, and Kaliningrad has been captured. We also see them begin to push into the Kola Peninsula from the Nordics. So yeah, the red team's obviously going to have the first advantage here, as they are the aggressors, but eventually the blue team is going to begin to push back, as down here in South America, French Guiana capitulates. And although originally Argentine and Chilean troops begin to push out, completely capturing Uruguay and all of Paraguay, as these are two fairly weak countries, they're not going to be pushing out for long, as soon enough Brazilian, Bolivian, and Peruvian troops are going to begin to arrive. So sorry if you hear something in the background, it's just rain. There's not much I can do about it. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully you can't even hear it, but never know. And we're not going to be seeing the Brazilian army start to arrive and push back the Argentines. Of course, the full might of South America can easily defeat Chile and Argentina, although it is not going to be easy, and now it's just going to be a race to try and survive until the USA gets down there. Of course, there are the Andes Mountains along here, which would pose a problem for both sides, but honestly, ignore it, okay? I am acknowledging it. I know they're there. Stop leaving comments. I'm just going to ignore it because otherwise it'll just look weird. It'll look something like this by the end of it, okay? Do you want the map to look like this? Like, no. Okay, I do know they're there, and I acknowledge that it would make it more difficult, but in the end, the result will be the same. Meanwhile, the US is having a very, not an easy time, but they're pushing down into Mexico. They are capitulating the country. From there, they continue to make landings on Caribbean islands. These are not at all protected. The USA sends like 1 battalion, and they all die. Also, all of these smaller US islands and whatnot, why are they colored in blue? I do not know, but they aren't anymore. As for the Balkans, well, Romania's gone, but at this point, the blue team, especially the Russian military, is beginning to arrive, and that is going to put a stop to all of this European expansion. From there, they push out Turkey completely from Europe, capturing Istanbul, but from there, the Russian, Ukrainian, and Turkish navies are able to blockade them. As for down here in the Middle East, well, Oman and Yemen have both fallen with semi-ease. They have also capitulated all of Jordan, all of Palestine, all of Lebanon, all of Syria, and a majority of Iraq. They are attempting to meet up with Europe, but I don't know if they'll ever get past Turkey. From here, we see them push down the Sinai as Egyptian forces were not completely ready for this, and they get to the Suez. That's a different video. And now the borders look something like this in the world. As for the Koreas, well, South Korea is going to begin to invade, but soon enough, the Chinese military will be arriving and putting an absolute stop to that. From there, what's going to happen next? Well, a few Pacific islands are going to capitulate, but that's not very important for anyone. They'll be in the bottom of the ocean soon enough. Although landing on New Guinea is semi-important, as Indonesia's there. And the Indonesian army could most likely defeat the Australians and New Zealand. Although, in the beginning, Australia is going to have the advantage, making some island hopping campaigns. They also have support from some other Red Team countries, such as Japan. Japan and Australia want to set up a link, so they invade the Philippines. And at this point, there's mostly just a stalemate. Chinese and Russian troops kicked the Red Team off the continent, capitulating South Korea, a very powerful country for the Red Team. But they are holding a front in the waters, and the Blue Team is not able to surpass that. Meanwhile, down here, Argentina and Chile, they're going to be Argentina and Chile. They're going to begin to die. Buenos Aires is captured, but Argentina does not surrender. In real life, this would most likely be enough to get rid of the country, but they're going to hold out hope that the U.S. gets there in time. And this is looking more and more likely as Mexico, their one stop in the way to South America, has capitulated, and literally none of Central America can stand a chance, so they begin to push into Colombia. As American troops seep into South America, we finally see Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Bolivia, Venezuela, etc. begin to realize that the Americans and Canadians are arriving, and that is why the Argentines have not surrendered yet. They're going to put up a fight, and the Americas are looking something like this, as the USA wants to get rid of South America soon enough, so they can send more troops to Europe. As for Europe, Russia's pushing back down into the Balkans, into Ukraine, and into Belarus. They also begin to push back the Baltic states, even managing to begin their own invasion into the countries, one of the few Blue Team aggressions yet. From there, they attempt to push back the Finnish, but that goes unsuccessfully, as even up here in the Arctic Ocean, Russia is losing islands. This is seen as completely useless for the Red Team, but they use it as morale and just to annoy the Russians pretty much. From there, Japan does the same thing, capturing the islands and attempting to destroy the entire Blue Team Navy, as that is the Red Team's goal here. Hold down a few land areas, meet them up, and hold. There's no way they can win this war. At best, they can push out and try and stalemate it. So that's what they're going to try and do. This is currently what the map looks like, which is going to give the Red Team an advantage, but in the end, it's only going to start getting worse. Well, the Red Team is going to dedicate a lot of divisions to one place, and that is over here in Turkey and Cyprus. Once both countries fall, we see the Red Team setting up a border along the Iranian Mountains and the Caucasus Mountains, capturing Azerbaijan. Now that they have this mountain border and the Suez Canal, the Middle East will be easy to hold. Although, in trying to take Turkey, they have been forced to retreat troops out of a lot of other land. That's going to annoy me. Let's go and fix that. Don't know what the issue is with the map, but there are always going to be a few things like that. Although that is besides the point, as Russia has just kicked out the Finns, and that is not very good. Russia is even beginning their own invasion into the Nordics, although it is not substantial enough to be considered a major effort. From there, they fully capitulate Latvia and begin to push into Lithuania, continuing to push back down in Romania and Bulgaria. Europe sees this and begins to send more divisions, and a massive stalemate is reached. Europe wants to make this more stable of a stalemate, so they start to look for places to go. They see two main spots. They can stop along the Romanian mountains and just try and follow rivers to meet up with it, aka the Danube. Actually, I kind of forgot about the Danube. They can hold it at the Danube. Let's go and do that. I don't know exactly where it is, but I know it's around here, so we're just going to put it here and hope that I'm right. From there, they go along the mountains, and this is going to be where the stalemate in Romania is going to be for a lot of this video. From there in Ukraine, they have nothing holding back the Russians, and they're continuing to push back until Poland is feeling threatened enough for the Europeans to send a lot of troops to hold them back. With this, the Red Team has mostly consolidated the fronts, and it's all just naval and mountains now, except for down here in South America. and over here in this region. So here, those are going to be the two main points fighting for now. The rest of it is being held down. Also, the Danube's probably a bit lower. I don't know, it's fine, it's close enough. Check it later, I don't know my exact river borders, and well, at least not good enough. With that though, Europe is now going to decide where do we go, where do we push, and they see a clear target in Ukraine. This will push their front line heavily, and pushing up to the river will expand their front line enough to the point where peace negotiations will be possible, in which the Baltics don't lose any land. Although at this point, the red team is losing men, and the blue team is starting to consolidate power. So the USA decides, this war is about to end, I need to get myself as much land as possible and try and save Argentina. So they go ahead and do this, and this. And with the USA just sending so many troops down to South America, even the Argentines begin to push back, recapturing their capital. And overall, it really looks like South America is going to fall here. All of Argentina and Chile are recaptured, and they begin to push out. Although at this point, Brazilian troops are fully on the border and stopping them in the rainforest, as the USA does not have enough specially trained divisions. Along with that, Brazil stations a lot of divisions over here. Actually, let's use more rivers because everyone complains I don't use them enough. Let's go by the Amazon. Although these islands would most likely fall to the US. So yeah, the border with Brazil is now rainforest, and although the USA is making some steady progress, overall, this border is only going to be moving in the south, where they actually managed to capture Sao Paulo and Brasilia. With this, Brazil begins to capitulate, but sadly for the red team, the war is going to be almost over. Europe begins that push towards the river, and it actually ends a bit prematurely, as the Russians have arrived and are beginning to push back. At this point, the Europeans are starting to see, as Indian and Chinese forces are beginning to arrive. So yeah, this is the full might of most Asian militaries. Over here, defending against Arabia is mostly just Pakistani and Iranian. That's probably enough, as they also have to handle Egyptian, pretty much just all African. They don't need a lot of divisions here. Down here, we can assume it's just a few Russian divisions, although we can dedicate the entire armies of Central Asia and maybe some Southeast Asia down here. Although Southeast Asia will be necessary guarding Indonesia, as they're starting to lose more islands having zero naval control, meaning that they can't stop them from making landings and they're slowly being starved out. Although with this, I think the war would be over. Over here in Europe, it's not looking great anymore, and Africa is preparing a full-scale invasion of the Middle East. Brazil is about to fall, but all sides decide that it's been enough and decide to truce. So let's go ahead and draw in these new borders, as it would look. Well, it's not going to be perfect borders, but let's go ahead and see what would happen. Well, for Russia, Russia's going to be happy here. Russia's going to be very, very happy, as they're going to be uniting with Belarus and taking all of the Baltic states. Russia's influence just grew heavily. They may even take some of northern Poland, but they would probably not try and push their luck that far, as they have already reclaimed a lot of land, and I don't think Russia's stupid. Well, actually they invaded Ukraine, maybe they are, but I don't think they would try and push that much. Maybe a tiny bit of northern Poland. You know what? No, it's fine. They've already gained a lot of land. Over here in Finland, though, they will be pushing for land, as they think they deserve some after having lost land at the beginning. They're ceded a tiny bit of southern Finland, but a majority of it is given back to the Finns. So yeah, Russia here, doing great for yourself there. Doing absolutely fantastic. Yeah, sorry, just the dog. Nothing I can do about it. Once again. Yeah, Russians looking fantastic. As for down here in the Caucasus region, well, let's see what would happen. For Georgia, Turkey, well, let's give Greece some land first things first. as Turkey completely capitulated, and they're going to be losing a lot of land to the Greeks. We're also going to be seeing Israel annexing a ton of land. And where else do we need to go here? Well, there are a few places. Also, sorry, it just kind of glitched off there for a second. But there are a few places we can go to add land. Of course, I already colored in the Suez. As for Jordan, they're going to be split. And so is a tiny bit of southern Syria. So yeah, Israel making themselves a bit of an empire here. You know who else is making themselves a bit of an empire? Saudi Arabia. They unite with the rest of Arabia and form, well, yeah, just Arabia. As for a lot of the rest of this land, well, the new Kurdistani Independent Republic is created, which these aren't their exact borders, but it's in the rough area. And they're looking to weaken all of the countries in the region. This is a perfect way to do it. As for the Caucasus, well, some of the northern land is what? Up there we go. Just glitching out a second. There we go. It's back, but they're going to be setting up a Caucasus Federation, and it's not going to be just in the Caucasus Mountain region. It is going to be all around, and it is going to create a federation, basically just to cut off Russia from the Middle East. That was Europe's main goal here, and it is going to work. As for Greece, well, Israel may form an empire, but Greece is making, Greece. They may be the largest expanders here. Though Montenegro gets themselves some good land as well. Pretty much just all countries bordering Serbia get a bunch of land, and they're all very happy now. So yeah, a lot of this land is kept under the blue team's control though, and that is going to be seen as Romania ceded back a lot of their land, along with Bulgaria and Serbia. Serbia is probably going to want to stay independent, but Bulgaria, Romania, and over here in Moldova unite. Romania and Moldova would most likely unite, but as for Bulgaria, that's a bit more out of the question. Eventually, maybe even Serbia would be added to this, but not quite yet because the Serbians still hate everyone who's here. As for the rest of this land, well, that's all going to the red team, and this is going to go back to the red team. That is the wrong color. So yeah, this is going back to the blue, and so is that. As for all of this, well, I'm basically just coloring in what's going to what side. In the end here, I'd say that the red team gained more land, but overall, it wasn't too terrible for the blue team. They're alive. In the end, they probably could have pushed back a bit. Maybe could have capitulated all of Europe. Maybe, just maybe. There's a chance they could have done that. But honestly, yeah, no. The USA would have soon capitulated Brazil and sent their full military over to Europe, and that would have most likely been enough to capitulate the entire continent. As for South Korea, well, the most horrible thing imaginable happens, and they are annexed by the North, creating just Korea. Although most of the time it's South Korea annexing North Korea, so hey, give the North a chance to win here. What's going to happen to the Philippines? Well, they're just going to be, nothing's going to change. In real life, they have a pro-US government, and it is going to stay a pro-US government. Maybe it's going to go to a full-on puppet, but probably not. As for Australia, wow, Australia, you're just gonna downright annex all of this. Well, a majority of it. Australia, yeah, let's unite them with New Zealand. Let's go ahead and unite them with New Zealand because that will just be all of Oceania colored in, including a bit of Asia. With that, they could easily turn themselves into a global power and grow their influence a lot. Honestly, with all this land, how can you not be a global influence? As for Sakhalin, that's given to Japan along with all of these islands. And are there any other border changes? Well, this is all going to the red team. We just have the Americas left to do. Just the Americas left. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at these new borders for the, it's all of them done. Let's go ahead and draw in the final borders, which is just going to consist of a few land changes, not anything too drastic. Of course, the USA is going to take all of northern Mexico. I always do this to Mexico when the USA beats them, which is pretty much every time. Although this time they're going to be uniting with the rest of Central America to form the Spanish Union, I guess. I don't really know. That's kind of Spain's job. And Belize doesn't speak Spanish. They're English speaking, I think. I mean, yeah, they were colonized by the British. I'm guessing they're English speaking. But they're also going to take all of Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, and yeah, that's about it. As for Cuba, well, they have about half their country gone right now for some reason. They also changed up the borders a bit, but you know what? That's fine. There we go, Cuba, you're back. And you know what your reward is for coming back? Complete annexation by the United States of America. Congratulations, you are now not even a puppet, just a part of the United States of America. A few of these countries may try and rebel, but in the end, the US will just destroy any attempt at rebellion. They may also take this as an opportunity to unite with Canada and form the North American Union, although there's still some land down here in the Spanish Union. Still don't know what it would be called, but I have decided that it is something that is happening, and it is going to happen. El Salvador and Honduras, Nicaragua, and literally everybody else. Yeah, not perfect, but you know what? They're going to have to make it work. Put all past relations behind them, right? Isn't that what the Europeans did to Africa? No, not exactly. They were actually ethnicities and cultures. But the USA is, of course, going to take back Puerto Rico and probably all these other islands to gain influence in the region. The USA wants to cement their position as number one in America so that neither Brazil nor anyone else can ever question that again. That's what they're looking to do here. Shoot down any Brazilian attempt to regain power in South America. They are basically just going to say, hey, Brazil, yeah, we're number one. Stop trying to turn yourself into into South American superpower. We're going to keep the position. If you want it, come fight us. And of course, Brazil says, no, I don't want the position. Just kill me already. And the USA does kill them. Also, Chile, growing in length. Amazing there. And the rest of this land is returned. As for French Guiana, well, it's going to stay French Guiana. And it's actually probably going to grow a bit. Same thing with all of these. Yeah, let's go ahead and give France all of Suriname as well. That's all going to go to them. Their colony is expanded, although it may not be a colony for much longer, as the people there are finally starting to get some ideas once, Suriname joins in. So yeah, let's go ahead and finish drawing these borders. Still got to color in the ones for Europe, and we can see what the world map looks like after this. Second and third world countries have just been destroyed even more, and first world countries have been just destroyed, period. This would absolutely demolish the world. But hey, once again, I do think eventually second and third world would come out on top, but there would probably be a peace treaty before then, as I doubt the world would keep a war like that going for so long. I mean, even looking at World War I, the Allies barely pushed into Germany and they surrendered because they knew they were going to lose. And the world just kind of decided here, hey, we're all going to die if we keep warring. Also, Hungary, you got a lot of land too. But let's talk about the real winner here. We all know him. Most of us love him, unless I have any Turks there. Probably already guessed it, Greece. They expanded so much here. Since Europe was able to take down most of the Balkans, they were able to beat back Turkey, North Macedonia. Just any rivals they may have had in the region, gone. Absolutely demolished. Serbia, gone. Every one of them just gone. Yeah. Let's go and finish this up. I am running out of things to say. And I have to keep saying them until these borders are finished drawing in. Which is almost done. Once again, this Caucasus Federation is actually a bit south, so it most likely wouldn't be called the Caucasus Federation, as it is not in the Caucasus region. But its main goal is just to split up the blue team. I mean, if they ever try and band together again, which they never would, as this put Iran and Turkey on the same team, Pakistan and India on the same team. Just all of these countries that would never even work together in real life, fighting a war together. This is completely unrealistic. There is absolutely zero chance that this happened. Yeah, just here. Yeah, perfect idea. I'm just going to start listing all the ways that this could never happen. Let's start in Africa, as Algeria and Morocco were working together. India and Pakistan. China and India. Iran and Turkey. Ukraine and Russia. Just all of these extremely unlikely alliances working together. It's again unrealistic. This is a made-up scenario to show what could happen if this war started. Are we done yet? No, we're not. Oh my god, these borders never end. Honestly, now I'm curious. I'm gonna go ahead and check what took longer, making the map or making the actual video. Go ahead, time it, let me know, because this is way too long. Honestly, if you're still here, thank you. I would have just expected everyone to skip to check the final borders. Honestly, I would have done that if this was somebody else's video, so if you're still here, thank you very much. Although these are borders now, and they are done. So, from beginning to end, who won this actually? Because the red team lost South Korea. They did lose South Korea. They gained a lot of land in the Middle East. Honestly, I don't even know what to say, and the fact is no countries are going first world for a while here. Despite the fact, though, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Oh, fuck, I clicked the wrong thing.